Right then. Well, one of the things about Cosmic Zap is that it is intended to be a very um, low bar for beginning. And yet it has a significant player creative element. And to clarify, I don't really think I need to clarify to anybody here what I mean by the term, but I will say that I've based it on the principle of irresponsible storytelling. That if someone like Jim Starlin came to comics with enthusiasm and with a great deal of personal passions about all sorts of things, and instead of writing Iron Man like he was supposed to, launched into God knows what about God knows what, making up characters and then retooling them into more interesting forms, getting the opportunity to take a character who'd already been done in a somewhat wacky way and then pushing it as far as he wanted in whatever way he wanted. And basically introducing story elements, character goals, and conflicts that reflected more of the things that he would currently rant and rave about privately. And yet somehow producing something that I think we can all regard as, wonderful. So that's really the idea, to get into that mode of creativity together. So the first thing to do is to say that we don't have to agree on a damn thing before we start. We don't have to set a genre or a setting. We don't have to agree upon a science fiction history. We don't have to agree about, how our characters are connected or anything. And you make up a character as per the document that you are sort of looking at. You make up a character with what are called three keywords. And the keywords are of three types. They are cosmic, super, and personal. And so for a personal keyword, you might simply give a person's name. Bob Jones. If you... Well, that's the thing, though. That's the person keyword. For the super keyword, it would be more like a superhero name or a descriptor of some kind of superheroic role. And then the cosmic one is, as you might imagine, something more like, the guardian of the seventh son, or something of that kind. What is important is that you will be ranking them. The three keywords have different ratings. So if you were, for example, to make super your most primary keyword, then the title of your comic would be the name of the superhero. And we would know what you do as a superhero, and you probably would have a costume and a thing to do in that role. Whereas if cosmic were the first thing, that would be sort of the name of the comic and the concept of what we concern ourselves with you. A good example would be John Constantine, for whom the first one would be the primary, the personal would be primary. He looks like a guy, his daily life is like a guy's, he identifies as a guy of a particular culture, but the second for John Constantine would be cosmic.
Okay.
And then the third would be super, because he doesn't really have any kind of superhero thing, but it would be about all of his little occult tricks. and
So
connections.
cosmic because Hellblazer, or just
Actually, I'm thinking more about his role in the Swamp Thing.
got it?
Oh,
Right. And so, yeah, that, and actually, and what goes on from there, well, is anybody's guess on what on earth Jamie Delany thought he was doing, so I won't bother myself with that. On the other hand, someone like Green Lantern has super first because most of his essence is him being a superhero here on Earth.
right.
And second would be cosmic, and third would be personal.
Right, and he's, I mean,
Because Hal Jordan really isn't all that important.
Right, and he can be replaced with somebody else who then becomes Green Lantern, and we don't really care.
Exactly, or we might, but it makes things different. But it doesn't change the Green Lanternness of it all.
Right, exactly. The whole comic doesn't change. Right.
So, does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah, makes
that you can rate them, you can rank them in any way, and we get a very different look at what kind of comics character we're talking about. But that these are the kinds of characters, or like for example, Reed Richards has, it first would be super, but some of his scores in Cosmic are actually very high. So, in other words, you can have high scores out of ranking. Do you see what I mean? Inside the keyword with other abilities. We'll get there in a minute. So right now, just pick your 3 keywords and give them names. Give them ranks and give them names. If you want to know precisely how to rank, the highest rank is called 1W. The second rank is called 17. The third rank is called 13. Well, the way we start is quite simple, because we take the character with the highest ranked personal score, which happens to be Sten Duncan, and we assign to Sten the next person in line, which happens to be Rod. And so, Rod, you have one phrase that must be used in your first moments of this role that you must address to Juan as the player of Sten Duncan. And you say to him, "What are you doing?"
Okay, Sten Duncan, what are you doing? And what's wrong with your face?
So all you have to do is describe what your character is doing at this time, what they're trying to do or working on at the moment or busy with, and what ability they're using to do it with.
Okay, I am standing by a bridge, standing at the foot of the bridge, one of the new bridges on the Thames, and trying to figure out a way to propitiate the spirit of the Thames because of that Babylonian thing that they just put up a while ago.
Right.
It's offended. Mm-hmm. It's offended, and it's putting the city out of whack.
Chaos magic, if I am not mistaken, or London chaos magic, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So there you go. And so there's our image, and I need to understand something and maybe be a pain in the ass. Sten looks like a person.
Yeah, he's totally human.
Totally human. Perfect. Guy. Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
sort of tweedy and think slightly chubbier Jarvis Cocker.
We got it. All right. So my role now as GM is to decide whether I'm going to proceed with this chaos stuff, which at this point there's no real reason for me to do. I'm going to move straight to Rod's role. Rod, your job is to make his life difficult, and primarily by using one of the abilities on his own sheet. You don't have to use the ones that are deliberately problematic, but in the first scene of play, per character. It's there to be done if you can't think of anything else. And you will be also targeting another ability that may or may not be the ability he's using, although that would make sense if you wanted to.
All right. So do I describe stuff, or do I?
Yes,
just
you are basically the GM for this purpose right now.
Okay.
I am an Uber GM who is mostly conflict-free
Right.
and managerial rather than situational.
Okay. So this is embarrassing. I've lost time or something. You're fighting a Babylonian god, or did I make that up?
He's propitiating it or something, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm trying to get the spirit of the river to play nice with the rest of the city. They've been a conflict forever. That's
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It may not even be true, mind you. This guy's not exactly sane.
Right. No, we get that part, but neither are we, so that's all right. So he's doing this London chaos magic thing, bearing in mind that that's a personal ability. Mm-hmm. In other words, he's a guy who's into this kind of shit.
Right. So
quirky at the least.
I was gonna say he's a nut, but
mm-hmm. So all you have to do is pick some other ability of his that would be interfering with this situation, and then you also pick an ability of his that is potentially harmed by the one that you've chosen. You may or may not include the chaos magic situation, or it could be a completely orthogonal problem.
Okay. I think I get the idea. Let's take a look. And whether they're personal or cosmic is your.
It is relevant. So, it is relevant in a way, but you are.
Because of the thing. Yeah,
but it is available to you no matter what.
All right, and so he's personal, super cosmic. Is that what I'm looking at?
Yes, that's correct. Although, that's yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna take bell curve, catastrophic failures.
Aha.
And that's a 2W if I'm reading that right. Mm-hmm. And put that up against your chaos magic.
Uh-huh.
As you are as part of your, well, I don't know if this is going too much into scary. I was going to say as part of his chaos magic ritual, he might be rolling some dice, possibly 3d6.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they come up 3, and out of nowhere a storm rolls in and starts pouring down rain, and the river is rising and threatening.
That's fine. You don't have to go further. You don't have to go further with that. Just that bad things are happening of what he's trying to do. So that's fine. So the way this is handled, first of all, everybody in, I like that. Everybody in the game, all 3 players begin with what are called 3 hero points. So everybody's got 3 hero points. Juan, you just had a cosmic ability targeted by a super ability, correct? Mm-hmm. Well, cosmic is better than super, so you get a hero point.
Wait, I thought his chaos magic was impersonal.
This is something. Oh, it was impersonal. Oh, right.
Yeah,
well, in that case, right. Wait. So that's super on personal. Ah, well, this is different. That means Rod gets a hero point.
All right.
Right. Because he super on personal gives the person using the super a hero point. Cosmic on super gives a person a hero point. but personal on cosmic gives the person a hero point.
Got it.
So that's a minor thing at the moment, just getting that hero point. Now let's move into the mechanics. And we have a wonderful opportunity to see how the notation is relevant. Do you see how you have one ability on with a 2W, correct? Wait, what's the rating for the bell curve?
That'd be 22.
Okay. And what's the rating on the London Chaos Magic? Also 22, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So this is how it will work. Each of you pick up this. So since you have a W on both sides, the W goes away. It cancels. So you have a rating of 2 attacking a rating of 2. So far, so good?
Yep.
Yep.
What you do is each of you is going to roll this D20 and see if you get a 2 or less.
Nope.
I got a 3.
Oh. Well, hang tight on that. That's important.
I got a 15.
Okay, just leave the dice where they are and don't touch them. So you can, so each of you has a failure. If you look on neither of you got a critical, which is a 1, and neither of you got a fumble, which is a 20. And neither of you succeeded by rolling, a 2 or less. So therefore, each of you has a failure. If you look on the little outcome chart, Ian, can you help us out here and pull up, because you're familiar with this, can you pull out the outcome chart strictly for the dice, not for the conflict, but for the dice, and see what it says for failure on failure? Whoop, wait, muted. Whoa, hold on. Still muted, number 1, which is weird. And Rod is disappearing again. Yeah, there you go.
Try this. Is that better?
Yes. Rod, how come you disappear whenever he unmutes?
Oh, is that a pattern?
It happened twice, maybe coincidentally. I don't know. So,
Okay.
So Ian, if you have a failure on a failure, what does our box say?
The box says that is a marginal victory to the person with the highest roll.
Right. So this is a marginal, at the moment, this is a marginal victory for Juan.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And that will mean that it's actually numerically the most boring possible outcome. It means that you will be able to quell the angry Babylonian river god, or Zoroastrian or whatever he was, but you will have no change in your scores. Now, you may not want to do this. This is not a very important part of the story. These are just opening things. And since there was no consequence numerically, you might not want to do this. Either of you can spend hero points to change the results of your dice. Keep that in mind for the future when you care more. Okay?
Alright.
So, just to give you an example, Rod could spend a hero point and make his result, bump his result to a success instead of a failure. Then we have success on failure, which would give Rod a minor victory. You guys get the idea?
Do you buy the successes straight out, or is it a modifier you add to your roll?
It is. You're on the chart. You bump to the new category.
Okay.
You don't have to. You don't do it point by point. Correct. So.
So if he'd had a success, he could bump it to critical.
Absolutely. And the spending hero points, you can do it without limit, so therefore you could bump it all the way up to a critical from a fumble if you didn't mind spending 3 hero points.
Got it.
Okay, so I am the narrator. And I would say that, despite the bell curve situation interfering with usually I'm going to say that Sten doesn't usually see a whole lot of immediate results from his chaos magic practice. Well, this time there was, and he, basically has to operate perhaps a little more in a fulcrum fashion in order to quell the impact of the dice. And so, for all we know, whatever manifestation of your powers as fulcrum, perhaps your appearance with your funky long fingers and stuff like that, alters for a moment while you do this, and the river god is diminished and quelled. So that
that's when the holes in the head start to happen.
Oh, perfect. Here's something else that you may consider, Juan. If you get a minor victory rather than a marginal one, you would get +3 to your chaos magic. Do you want to do that? And it's permanent. So because of this result, you could buy a permanent increase in your chaos magic with a hero point.
Not quite yet.
Okay.
So
just keep that in mind, that for almost all the results, except for the one we got, for almost all the results, there will be positive or negative impact on your abilities. And in fact, since it's a marginal defeat for the bell curve, and failures are meaner than victories are nice, your bell curve ability drops by 3 points.
Okay.
So therefore, it just became a 19. Right? So there is consequences. You are able, because you use your chaos magic successfully to keep the bell curve from fucking with you. Your bell curve is somewhat diminished in its effectiveness now. Okay?
So I can eventually try to game things to.
Absolutely. One thing you can do sometimes is to use a very powerful ability to create an increase in another ability. All you have to do is roll against a difficulty, get a really good result, and the best you can get is a +9. If you get a critical on a fumble, you get +9. Or sorry, if you get what's called a complete victory, then you would get a +9 to the targeted ability, which is a very nice thing to do when you want something to jump up fast. So just keep that in mind for later. Now, the next thing that Rod does is say to Juan, is there anything you want to do next?
Is there anything you want to do next?
I want to look around and see who messed with me.
Okay, well, what ability would you use to do that? I also want to emphasize that was your own ability messing with you, and you as the player know that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a function of the other character.
No. Not when he uses your own sheet, it's not.
I think that option is available, right? But in this case,
it makes a lot more sense once we have separate things happening for each character. At the moment, there's nothing to do that with.
Right.
So Juan, you could say, okay, we've met Sten, let's go see someone else now, and give up the turn and move on. Or you could try to, for example, improve your bell curve because you don't like it being taken down, or something like that.
Nah, I think I'm fine with moving on. I want
Okay.
Get the party together.
Perfect. Well, we will see about that. Just hold on a bit on that one. That very phrasing is dubious in this game.
Let's go. The character player now becomes the attacking player.
Right. Right, exactly.
So
right.
It's Juan
right.
on Ian.
That's right. It's Juan on Ian, not on you. So Juan, now you say to Ian, what are you doing?
Let me pull up the document. Alrighty. So, Mr. Blue Streak, what are you doing?
So I am at the Baxberg Institute, where I think I'm attempting to experiment with some of my powers, and particularly I am trying to see what happens when I kind of open portal to the stream and try and bring some of its power into this world. So my power effectively to loose the stream.
Okay.
Which I noted, you can note in brackets says, that's not something that I can control.
Now, this is a perfect opportunity for the GM to step in, me, and say, before Juan gets to mess with him a little, I want to just work with that ability by itself. So, Ian, you're going to be rolling against me, and I'm rolling just against a raw difficulty, and I have a number. So, Ian, you ready?
Yep.
What does it look like, the equipment you're messing with and all the rest of it?
I think there's a couple. There's some sort of gate. I mean, almost a bit, Stargatey, but perhaps more organic in some way. It's made of more organic materials.
Excellent.
It's in a kind of like laboratory space that's quite big, all very white, all very kind of sterile, and yeah.
Perfect. Stanley Kubrick, we got it. If you want, this is something else all of you should know, at any time you can always spend a hero point to begin a new ability of any kind at 13.
Mm-hmm.
So if Ian felt like it, he could spend a hero point right now and make that gate an ability. If he wanted.
Yeah. Could be worth doing?
Yeah,
okay,
if you want to, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll put that under Cosmic Slipstream and the ability under there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what ability are you using? Is the Slipstream a cosmic ability? Yes?
Let the stream loose.
All right, then. Excellent. So you go ahead and pick up your 20-sided die, you roll it, and tell me whether you get a success or not.
I get a 16, which is a success, because I basically have a 1 mastery, so it's a fail, a bump to success.
Right. Never mind what he just did, everybody. He gets a success. So,
okay.
What I got was a 20 on my die.
Wow.
It's a fumble. So that means that out of the gate, we've got a success on a fumble, which is a major victory. So therefore, Ian, you get +6 to your Slipstream ability.
Okay.
So, therefore, it is you have let the stream loose, yes, and you have improved itself by doing so.
Okay.
So Juan, it is now your choice of what to do to mess with this fellow, and you can do one of two things that Rod didn't have available to him. He only had one option. You have two. You ready, Juan?
Uh-huh.
Option number one. Wait. Let me tell you the two options. Option number one is exactly what Rod did, which is to find something on Ian's sheet which could now attack some ability of his, an ability of his own attacking another ability. Right? You could do that. Or you can look at something on your sheet that, based on the events of your scene, indirectly attacks the blue streak. You see, because we're all connected, man. And completely unbeknown to Sten Duncan, his innocent act of propitiating the Babylonian river god could easily have secondary effects reverberating throughout all the cosmos, which now come and knock Blue Streak on the head.
Well, you can't just mess with the stream and not be noticed by the powers that be.
Saying.
Yeah, you know how that delivery van outside the lab that's been there for a few hours. The back of it just opened and there's like looks almost like a clown car of Men in Black.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Acceleration Bureau is going to ask
Right.
you some pointed questions.
Exactly. So now you're saying that, however, is due to something that happened in Sten Duncan's scene, right?
No, well, I was just thinking his whole test, it probably registered on someone's scanner.
That makes perfectly good sense, but we do need to connect it to your actual scene that we saw you in.
Huh. Well, this whole thing happened a few hours before I did my ritual.
Oh, so you're going to flip it around?
Yeah, I mean, he evidently changed the ley lines for London, and that's why things are being messy.
I suppose. Okay. I kind of like the idea of what you do is actually causing his problem rather than the other way around.
Oh, I call it magic. He calls it slipstream possibility. This
Right.
and that.
Right. No, I get all that. What I'm trying to say is that Sten is causing blue streak problems, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, okay, so Sten messes with the ley lines and then that messes with the slipstream. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
perfect.
that could definitely.
So Acceleration Bureau is a perfectly good, ability of yours, and you can choose whatever ability of his you want to be attacked by the Acceleration Bureau. It doesn't have to be the slipstream.
Oh well, it would be travel to other worlds because the bureau's not ready for that to be public knowledge.
Got it. Okay. So you are being attacked by the Acceleration Bureau, Ian.
Okay.
And we might as well make it lots and lots of fun and actually have them like leaping in there, right, at you.
Fine. That seems good. Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And so in they come, and you now have to pick. Okay, and let's bear in mind, this is a cosmic ability, right? Is attacking what kind of ability of yours? What's your travel between worlds thing? Is that cosmic too?
It's a cosmic as well.
Okay, so no hero points are gained by anybody. So, comes in on you, and you get to choose any ability you want to defend with. You can choose with the travel between worlds itself, or you could choose anything else to defend with. That's okay.
Okay. So I think what Blue Streak will do, he will see people coming into the room and realise that he wants to escape. He doesn't want people to shut down his experiments. Perhaps he is aware that he is, on the boundaries of things that people would want him to do. So he's going to attempt to ride the stream. He's going to leap through the gate and attempt to escape through the gate itself.
All right.
So ability to ride the stream.
Riding the stream. Excellent. So, everybody ready with their dice? Juan, you ready with your Acceleration Bureau? Ian, you ready with your Ride the Stream?
Yep.
Roll. And tell me what you get. Fumble, failure, success.
I wish.
Oh, wait. Let me double check something. What are the two abilities ratings?
So mine is going to be 1 mastery.
What's yours, Juan?
16.
16. Okay. So we don't cancel any W's. They are what they are. Ian, roll.
Okay. So I fail on a 2, bump to a success on a 2 because I have a mastery in hand.
Right. What I want to hear is the result, the final result.
Okay.
Don't say that bump thing. It's not a failure if you have a bump because it's automatic.
Yep,
It is a success.
I succeeded on 2.
Right. And so, Juan, what did you roll?
I'm taking a photo with my phone, which I will upload because I got a 1.
Oh, we believe you. Excellent. So, we have a critical on a success. And so that means that we have a minor, if I'm not mistaken, yes, we have a minor failure for the blue streak. Now, Ian, do you want to spend any hero points to rescue your sorry ass from this situation?
No, I think the all branches are interesting at this point, so I'm quite happy to let it ride.
Okay, now Juan, does that mean you want to spend a hero point to make his situation worse? So that actually, of course.
I mean,
right.
We're stress testing the system, so why not?
Enjoy. So spend your hero point, and what that means is that your well, let's see. You rolled a critical, so you can't change your die result, but you can make his worse. He got a success, so you can. There we go. So you can make it a failure.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that Ian, you have a failure, whereas he rolled a critical. So you are facing a major victory, right? Of major defeat right now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So is that? Perfect. In that case, first of all, let's just do the mechanics. But that's not narration. We're just getting the mechanics out of the way. You're going to have a minus, let's see, minus 9 on your ride the stream. And Juan, you're going to have a plus 6 on your the acceleration bureau just got a plus 6. Keeping in mind, everybody, these are not temporary. These are all permanent.
So I'm assuming if I had a plus 4 before, I'm now at a minus 5. That's the way it's working, right?
I'm not sure I know what you mean by a plus 4.
So before I had ride the stream as a breakout at plus 4 from slipstream at 17.
Okay, your notation is making my head hurt.
Okay,
what was the rating of ride the stream all by itself?
Okay, so it'd be 1 mastery. So you just get so minus 9 of 1 mastery. Okay, that makes
so
sense.
you now have a 12. I am the narrator, so I will narrate. No, although you have increased, let the stream loose, you have lost a great deal in your ability to ride the stream because the Acceleration Bureau all points strange little widgets that look like those old, the pull-off metal tabs on soda cans.
Oh, yeah.
Right, remember those? Right? Well, they point those things that look like that at you, holding the round end and pointing the little weird blade at you. They all, pull them out and, hold them in a funny way. They hold them like this, between thumb and forefinger, and then they put their elbow real close into their bodies and, make a mean face. Pointing them at you. All of these guys do this. And it just totally disrupts the stream, and your body shatters into all sorts of strange, just disjointed horizontal sections of itself as you try to enter the stream. But the stream goes all these different ways. You can't ride it, and you are flung down onto the floor beneath them, dazed and confused, of course, by this. And since you took a major victory, you, my friend, are hurt.
Wow, yep, okay.
Mm-hmm. So they have got you. We will either leave you there, or we will continue with this scene, because Juan is now supposed to ask you, do you want to keep going?
Do you want to keep going, good sir?
Let's cut at that point, I think.
Okay, right, we'll cut there. So now, Ian, your job is to turn to Rod and say,
what are you doing?
Okay. Start again. So, Jane is walking into a weird trans-dimensional bar, whatever, in an interdimensional nexus, and saying to the bartender, I'm going to take the booth in the back because I've got a buyer coming in. If Elric shows up, I'm not here. I cannot listen to another one of his sob stories about whichever girlfriend he's killed this week. So, omnidimensional curiosity thief to try to make a deal.
Ah, excellent. So, what ability are you using? Was that it? Omnidirectional? Right, okay.
The name of the ability, yes.
Okay. So,
it's all in the messages.
Excellent. So, since you were not in the middle of making the deal, you're just sort of planning to use this and haven't met your client yet. Therefore, it makes more sense for Ian to cause you trouble right now, rather than me to carry on with the ability you named. See, I can choose as a GM which makes more sense. With Ian, I decided to stick with his current activity to let it get somewhere before I let Juan do the job on him. Here, I'm saying Ian gets to jump right in, based on what you said. So, therefore, Ian, what ability... Now, you have the same choice Juan had, which is the case from now on. Either stay with Jane, look at Jane's sheet and make her current activity more difficult because of something about Jane.
Mhm.
Or look at the scene that you just had and find something on your sheet that because of that scene is going to be interfering toward Jane. Either way.
Okay. So I think just to try and pull things together, there is going to be some blowback from what just happened in the lab, which is going to impact you.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to probably attack you with one of my abilities, which is let the stream loose.
The big one,
Mm-hmm.
which just racked up. Yeah, of course. It just racked up, right?
Right, yeah.
The stream is loose, damn it. So what ability of Rod's is that going to actually attack? Or of James?
Right. Rod, do I have your sheet somewhere, or a
Should be in the messages under your message. If you
got
scroll.
yeah, just found you. Okay, cool.
Or now I can.
The joys of interface.
Well, I'd have thought Visions from Beyond Infinity is likely to be what is we're picking on here. Surely, the blowback from the stream being loosened is going to probably bring you some overwhelming visions.
And don't forget that this can be treated as damage on Jane, psychic, psychological, and interdimensional all at once, because who can tell the difference? And also, and it can diminish that ability. That's the danger here for you, Rod, is that it can diminish that ability. So
I think it's a given the source material, it's a very trippy experience. Explodes in your head.
Right.
The colors and the stars and bits of dimensions, etc.
Now, what is your rating in that ability, Ian?
Mine is 7 mastery.
All
Rod,
right.
what's your ability?
Well, I see how this is going to go.
Well, let's also check out something. Because, well, hold on, there's something else. Rod gets to choose what to defend with. You don't have to defend with that
that's
ability.
right. I don't have to.
Yeah.
But before we do that, we look at the attacking one, we look at the targeted one. What category is that? Slipstream is cosmic, right? Let the stream loose. What ability is that of Jane's?
That is a
Cosmic.
Okay, no hero points are gained or lost. Are gained by either side.
Okay.
So,
And
Ian.
that's the only junction where you check for hero points, right?
That's correct. Yeah. The ability that attacks the targeted ability, regardless of what's used to defend. So you can be a little strategic. If you're jonesing for hero points, when it's your turn to do this, go after things that are in the right category.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So roll.
I haven't chosen
Wait,
it.
what was your? Oh, you haven't chosen your defending, right?
And I'm trying to think what feels right. I think, I'm having some sort of trippy experience. I will try to defend with Raw Defiance.
Ooh, and what is raw defiance? What is its category?
That's personal.
Ooh, so it's personal against a cosmic. Rod gets a hero point.
Yay!
I thought we just said it's only the attacker.
Oh, that's right. My mistake. Too bad. All right.
Because I remember y'all had a conversation about it.
Right. No. I'm just talking myself out of. I just like personal on cosmic. It makes me happy. So, yeah. If you had your personal, it's not just the attacker. If he had targeted a personal, then you would get a hero point. Is what I'm saying.
Right.
Okay. So, what's your rating in Raw Defiance?
20.
20. And your rating in in Let the Stream Loose is 7 mastery. Okay, so roll.
1.
Okay.
You rolled a 1?
I succeeded in a 9.
Okay.
But you're all critically against me, which is, I'm
right.
I'm dying here.
So we have a critical on a success. And so that means that you have a minor. No, that's a minor victory against the Let the Stream Loose, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So therefore,
So I spend a point.
If you spend a point, then you're going to get critical on critical.
I get a critical on a 9, right? So I got a better critical at that point.
That's right. Then we look at who has the higher roll, and Ian would get a marginal victory.
Okay, so I'm going to spend a point.
Ooh. So you can spend a point. Now, you can't change your critical up, but you can bump him back down. So we can have a bidding war of hero points, you see.
Yes.
These can get out of hand, and you can both be looking at an empty handful quite quickly and decide whether you really want to go this far.
Understood.
Right.
Well, I'll spend 1.
This is also important to recognize. At the end of the session, all your unspent hero points vanish. So there's no point in hoarding them. And furthermore, if you have unspent hero points, you might as well just make new abilities and enjoy yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Rod, do you want to just bump him down by 1 so that it's a success on a critical where it was before? Or do you want to spend 2 hero points and give him a failure?
Oh, okay. That's fun. I'll go 1 for now.
Okay. In a minute, it's going to be finalized. So,
does it actually bounce back and forth, or is it just...
Right. You guys can decide. You guys will eventually decide how much you want to spend. So go all in is what basically I'm going to say, or not. See what he says. Ian, you going to leave it at that with a minor defeat, or
I'm going to go in and spend 1 more and see quite how he's
Right.
going to.
Okay, so he's trying to keep himself at a critical, and Are you going to...
Yeah, I'll match.
Okay, so therefore we're back at a critical on a success, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so that's going to be a -6 for the Let the Stream Loose, and a +3 to the Raw Defiance.
Wait, so that's 3 W. Okay.
Now, I am going to... Now, I see, of course, the fun part is that if you had failed, Rod, I would have had the acceleration guys actually spill into your reality.
Right.
But that doesn't happen. However, you have visions of all these acceleration guys doing like a 180. Their heads like rotate all the way around from where they're looking at Blue Streak and look at you instead through all the weird transdimensional barriers.
All right.
So they do look at you. Furthermore, the slipstream like changes the bar into the complete probabilistic obverse of itself for a microsecond, but by force of will you make it remain the way it is. No, stay here. I need this deal. Right, and so you do that, but you get a really good look at Blue Streak, and you get through further reality funky visions, which is what was attacked because it's operative. You can see all the way through to a rather perturbed looking Englishman going there to a river.
Is he hot?
Is he hot? All right. Well, he said in a kind of 2.5 children looking way. We'll see. Who knows? There's a certain appeal there, especially if we're talking about a bad girl. It's those quiet, normal guys who are the most, enticing. So
it's like Jarvis Cocker said. He's his current look is slightly pervy geography professor.
There you go. I like that. Okay. So what happens is you can... how am I going to put this? So, Rod, that's my narration of what happened. Let me also put something else in. Juan, just because you said that, I'm going to remind you that you could spend a hero point and just put in an ability which is a description of Sten's appearance.
Oh, pervy geography professor?
Or just like however he wants to describe it. Earlier he said slightly chubby, tweedy, or however he wants to describe it, he can make an ability right now by spending a hero point and putting it into that personal category. That's fine.
But Okay, I don't get that because basically the abilities are the shape the tools have to interact with the world are, but with a descriptor that's not evidently a plus or a flaw.
That's
Would that be
correct. We
worse?
don't care about plus or flaw.
Huh.
Because if it's used against you by another player, then it automatically becomes a flaw, at least in that moment.
I see.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
And you would be amazed at how the most normal and neutral abilities start turning into fascinating assets and flaws in the course of play.
This would start at a 13.
Right. And so I'm calling attention to the fact when somebody is humorously or mildly creative just in conversation, table talk, it's often a signal to go ahead and use a hero point to make an ability. Okay?
There you go.
All right. So, and that would then, okay. And since, by the way, this is going to be our final scene for purposes of tonight, you might as well spend the hero points while you have them because, right. And so, Rod, Ian has another question for you.
Do you want to keep going?
Actually, I don't. I don't think that
Okay.
thing is that important.
Okay. Perfect.
Just
Now, you see, as a player, if you were really interested in cutting that deal based on what was happening, then you really want to get that done. But at the moment, we're just snapshotting each other, right?
Right.
So that would conclude us. Now, a session doesn't have to rotate through all three players in this case, although this one happens to have done so.
Right, yeah.
And so that is the first session.
Okay.
So whatever hero points you have left, I suggest you make abilities out of them.
All right.
And as you'll see during play, we're really using one big Uber sheet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember you talking about that in one of the videos.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you were actually playing in person, you could get a big piece of butcher paper or something.
Well, yes, I agree.
Yeah. Ron and I were talking about kind of what was there somewhere visually tooling the situation so that you could easily see what essentially was in play at any one time.
Yeah, what's actually kind of interesting, if you have everything out on the table, then you could put counters on attacking ability, targeted ability, and defending ability.
Yeah. Love counters.
And I have 0 hero points.
Which is fine, because you always end a session with 0 no matter what. And you always begin a session with 3 no matter what. So you don't have to hoard them for the next session. You're not out of them relative to having them for purposes of the next session.
I'm thinking this could work as a tree of post-its in front of you.
Right. That's true. So a couple of things. A complete victory, a complete defeat against an ability can remove it from play. And if you drive it down past 0, you remove it from play.
Okay.
So that can be quite consequential sometimes. So far so good?
Yeah, it's got definitely a nice feel to it.
Yeah. We are all set, I think, and have fun.
I need to head away because I need to catch up with somebody else. My day's not done. But it was lovely to play, Ron. Great. It's good actually to play it because can you see it on paper, and even when you see somebody else playing it.
And I have to admit that I am struggling with the pedagogy of teaching it through text.
Yes.
So not only is this a process of me testing how I say it, now that you guys get it, or actually you're not. It's still going to be a couple sessions. But when you guys really get it, then you can say, well, you should explain it like this. And I'll go, oh, well, that helps, and be able to write it better. So
Yeah, I think there's an initial moment of, what do I do now? Right. I think particularly if you're the first guy who's up, you have the hardest task because you feel like you're setting up the direction.
But the nice thing is that consequence is the one thing you don't have to worry about.
Right,
that's someone else's problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So, all right, guys, I got to shoot. So, I'll send some emails around and talk to you all. Okay.
Good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Take care.